Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Star Citizen 4.0 is now open to everybody on the EPTU. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, in particular to all of my new channel members. Again, there are too many to call out, so thank you all so much for joining as a channel member and supporting the channel. It is much appreciated. So first things first, Star Citizen 4.0 is now available to all backers. It is open to anyone who wants to try it. You just need to copy your account to the PTU from the RSI website and then download this new build. Now, since my last video talking about 4.0, there has been another 2 patches, each one bringing significant updates and changes, but I am very happy to see that they have managed to get it to open PTU before the end of the year. It'll be very interesting to see whether they push it to live or keep it in the PTU for the remainder until next year. And as we heard on Inside Star Citizen on Thursday, Jared said everyone at CIG is working diligently to release Alpha 4.0 into all players' hands by the end of the year. Now, this unfortunately does not confirm live by the end of the year and could simply just mean the PTU, which they have done now as of this morning. And I think if Jared meant live, he would have literally said live. But I still hold out hope to see it go live over the last remaining working week before the holiday break. I certainly still think it can happen, but we will have to see what they decide. Either way, I am over the moon by 4.0's progress, and getting it to open PTU at the least was an amazing feat. But I would still love to see it hit live, but obviously there is that balance of how playable is it? Should it stay in the PTU? Can they make it super solid and playable for live? Because what we're playing on the PTU is somewhat better in many cases than what we have on live. So we will see what remains, but it would definitely be the best early Christmas present. Let us see what next week brings. Now, the latest build, which dropped last night, has a lot of features in it, which I will run through soon. But firstly, let's take a look at the first of the 2 patches that released on Thursday morning. As they said, the network changes that they put in the previous patches are working very well, and there are more for this build. That should help with networking and interaction delays. Also, there are a few more backpack and armor updates, and they are also testing on all shards players spawning in their hangars when we first log in. Now, in regards to hangar logging, technically this is more of a temporary quality of life update to help firstly relieve stress when everyone spawns in, but also to help get players into the action quicker rather than having to deal with the not so fun transit systems like elevators, trams, or trains. Likely until the transit system refactor is completed post 4.0, but long term the plan is to allow players to log in and out somewhat anywhere they want, even without needing a bed. There will be, I'm sure, some limitations here, but eventually we will be able to buy houses, rent houses, apartments, buildings of varying types at main cities as well. So it might become more of a choice of where you want to log in or where you last logged out. But for now, it is certainly a big benefit being able to log straight into your hangar, especially with how we can decorate our hangars to be more homely, as we can now set up kind of more of a home, and it'll feel like we're just logging into our home to some degree. Anyway, with the mesh configuration for this patch and the second patch remains the same, being 4 servers for Stanton, 6 servers for Pyro, and 500 players total on the mesh. Now, for gameplay updates, for backpacks and armor, they have increased the occupancy volume for backpacks to prevent backpack inventory nesting, so you can't put backpacks in backpacks, as well as further armor size updates to allow some items back in, like water bottles and medguns. So very happy to see the armors can actually carry items like bottles of water and drink and medical supplies, but that they are still pretty restricted, as combat armor specifically is not really intended to allow players to be loot goblins, as there will be armors to support that role, or suits to support that role. So glad to see things are becoming a little bit more dialed in, more tuned to their roles, but there are still some more updates in the next patch. Now, they have also implemented health and wear functionality to fuses so that they lose health over time when connected to a contested zone door. Now, this is something that will not just apply to fuses, but everything post 4.0, especially when engineering comes in. Items will age and degrade over time. This specifically, I believe, is just referring to the contested zone doors and how they decrease very rapidly for the sake of gameplay, but eventually things being degraded and needing replacing will be the trigger for many of these handyman missions, where it's just aged over time and then it'll spark up a job for you to go and fix it up. They have also updated spawn closet tags to ensure the correct NPCs spawn in the correct location of the frontier outposts, and they have adjusted the jurisdiction of all outposts on the star map to make sure they show who respectfully owns it. For some reason on the PTU, I am instantly at beef with the CFP, the Citizens for Prosperity, which is the complete opposite of what I want to be doing. I don't know what I've done, but every time I go to a CFP outpost, the turrets start targeting me as if I'm trespassing. Hopefully I can rectify that, but hopefully it'll go live and I can just carry on as normal. Now, for ships and vehicles, they have polished the advanced HUD, with the speed limiter now having a value of 100% by default, and will now show up in the MFD config screen and not change between master modes anymore. They've also fixed the velocity bar behavior, moved the speed and acceleration limiters to discrete mouse wheel up and down actions instead of on an axis, plus this also fixes accidental triggering of weapon group changes when the limiter changes itself. They've also removed unused speed actions, being set to SEM and set to target speed. The binding names have slightly changed as well, and if you are using the limiters on your setup, you might need to rebind them. I have noticed a few changes here that I'm still trying to grasp. Plus they have moved ship alerts to your visor. They have also added missing annunciator panels to the Reliant, the Nox, the Mantis, the Xi'an Scout, and the Banu Defender. They've added the mining HUD to the Mole pilot seat, and they have updated the mining bars and set up for the Argo style. Plus, for the Crusader Intrepid, they have adjusted exterior proxies that were clipping into the cargo bay, stopping tractor beams from working, which is very good. Now, for core tech in the first build, they have done further network and interaction delay improvements. They've done physics performance optimizations, entity cleanup optimizations, spawn closet and fauna performance optimizations, and jump tunnel performance optimizations to reduce stalls, as well as an audio mix polish as well. Now, there were 13 client crashes fixed, 6 server crashes fixed, a server deadlock fixed, and a hybrid crash fix, plus 29 bug fixes, so quite a lot of changes and adjustments, plus many fixes and optimizations. Now, swiftly moving on to the newest build, which was said to have further stability, a fix for the biggest hybrid crash, and more interaction delay optimizations, as well as a fix for a long-standing invisible asteroid issue that was causing the client and server to generate asteroids in different places, causing players to crash into them. So, some great updates there already, and again, no change to the mesh config. For locations, for Pyro's moons, of which there are 5, they have had their gravity set to minus 9.81 meters a second, as well as updated their temperatures to be more in line with design requirements and match the current art setup. And for Pyro 4, the planet, Pyro 5A and 5B, which are the moons, these have been set to breathable atmospheres. Now, it will be very nice when we see more harsh environments requiring proper bespoke armor to explore them, or equipment. But already, with Pyro and Stanton's many moons, we do have quite a few. So I'm quite alright with these becoming breathable. I suppose they are retconning the lore quite a bit here with Pyro again. It will add more real estate to build remote outposts and buildings on. With it being breathable, it just makes it so much easier and more enjoyable. But I'm sure we will see plenty of more harsh environments with non-breathable atmospheres in the future. Now, there have also been further contested zone navigation progression improvements and fixes, as well as a contested zone art and lighting polish pass. They have polished Pyro's planet's ambient audio, the station interior map has had a polish pass, the asteroid base interiors have had an optimization pass. They have also reduced Area 18's hospital NPC count and done further outpost mining ground collision polish. Hopefully this means no one is falling through the planets in Pyro now. Now, in terms of gameplay, for turret aiming and auto gimbal mode, it says turrets will now use a different variant of auto gimbals, and while in auto mode, the crosshairs act like a manual gimbal mode, in which gunners will have to put the crosshairs on the target in order to initiate the auto gimbal process, and the UI will let you know when a good firing solution has been achieved. Now, AI-controlled turrets also have less of a tendency to fire through their own hulls, and they have fixed V-joy missing in turrets in ADS, or aim down sights. So quite a few changes there, but without testing them myself, I can't say whether they are good or bad, but as with anything that automates something in-game, there needs to be a somewhat heavy trade-off so that skill, practice, and experience always prevails. Now, there have been further combat backpack and armor storage updates to help certain weapons fit in combat backpacks. They have also tweaked fuse health reduction over time when connected to a contested zone door to last around 30 seconds. So again, going back to the previous information in the previous patch, this degradation for fuses looks to only be for the contested zone doors at this time, as they seem to be sped up more than they will when they apply to everything. Plus, they have slightly increased chances of getting a Tier 2 and Tier 3 injury. Now, I actually really like how they have adjusted the health settings over the course of the last so many patches to give players more time before they become incapacitated, but increased the chances of getting injuries, as this still heavily encourages taking it slow and using cover and tactics, but does not punish you too much by feeling like you have been kind of insta-killed. So, nice moving there, and it kind of gives medics more of a purpose as well. For ships and vehicles, they have done visual optimizations and labeling to the advanced HUD and MFDs. For the multi-tool tractor beam, they have increased the maximum distance it can be used, but lowered the maximum force. Again, more balanced tunings for tractor beams, but I'll need to try it before I can pass judgment. And then in core tech, there are further network and interaction delay optimizations. Very happy to hear this every time. Further corpse, ragdoll physics, and networking improvements, which will help with jittering corpses and performance. They have updated all loading screens and spawn location screens to be more specific to their location, plus optimized the instant hangar streaming. Now, there have been 31 bug fixes with this build, 7 client and 7 server crash fixes, a server deadlock fix, and they have fixed a memory corruption issue. Hopefully that will reduce the amount of RAM needed, but we'll see. So, what a pair of chonky patch notes. They are really pushing stuff out and polishing, optimizing, balancing, and adjusting everything to really set 4.0 up as a great starting point. Now, I did manage to jump in last night, I think it was, on the previous patch before this new one dropped, and I was able to get on with a hauling mission in Pyro, but unfortunately I didn't read the blurb and was given 2 4 SEU boxes to move using my Intrepid, which obviously won't work. Now, what I loved about this mission was, aside from it having a pretty decent payout, it was asking me to lug these 2 4 SEU box containers only 20 kilometers from Jackson's Swap to Sunset Mesa, which is a very localized job, and you could essentially drive this. If you had one of those new Argo ground vehicles, you could potentially put, I think it only carries 4 SEU, but you could put one on, drive it, come back. Obviously, it will take a lot more time, but it is much safer considering the range of ground vehicle signatures. But still, great to see missions now hooked into 4.0, especially the hauling ones, and I'm sure there are many more to come. And if they can be very localized like this, where you are at a location, a single location, and its surrounding buildings for a much longer period of time without feeling the need to fly away, that will keep me entertained for a long time, especially off-gridding, zero to heroing. Can't wait. Of which will be returning soon, by the way. Now, before I finish, courtesy of Cloud Imperium, we have an amazing ship giveaway, which consists of one lucky winner bagging not just a Star Citizen game package, so if you are on the fence of playing the game, this will get you in, and this includes an Aurora MR, an Argo MPUV tractor, and an Intrepid with Nocturne paint, which actually should have been a Nursa rover, but I accidentally upgraded the Nursa to the Intrepid, thinking I owned the Nursa. Turns out it was for the giveaway, so you get an Intrepid instead. Now, all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is firstly be a subscriber here on YouTube and comment below with what you are planning to do as soon as Alpha 4.0 goes live. In a week's time, I will pick a comment at random to win that amazing prize, and thank you to Cloud Imperium for providing that giveaway, and good luck to everybody. Now, with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. We are fast approaching 70,000. It would be great to get there before the end of the year. Do follow me over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother, the link is below, or watch me here on YouTube. I will be streaming today between 2 and 6 PM GMT, as I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You're all more than welcome. I will be jumping in and playing the latest 4.0 build, talking about 4.0. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do it without you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.